YouTube user UN4G1V3. You know, he actually said that it's supposed to say Unforgiven One, and it's supposed to be clever because he uses numbers for letters. But only 14-year-old girls do that, so I'm going to call him Buck for short. Buck is a conspiracy theorist. Buck believes the moon landing was faked. Buck thinks that the U.S. government actually, wait a minute. Well, I am a skeptic. I belong to the James Randi Educational Foundation. I subscribe to Skeptic magazine. I am skeptical of claims. Going to the moon is a pretty big claim. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. That's the rule. I mean, they would have a reason to fake it. You know, perhaps faking it would have been easier and faster, thus assuring that they won the space race. I need to look into this matter for myself.
Alright. Oh, there she is. That can't be too hard. Doesn't look that far away. Alright. Now, let's get to work.
So it turns out that rocket science is actually pretty difficult. But they had the Saturn V, you know? They had rockets, and it went into space. Everybody saw it. The whole world was watching. They launched shit into space. We know they did. They didn't fake that. So if they launched something into space, then what's the problem? Why didn't they just go ahead and launch to the moon? Why didn't they continue the trek, continue the voyage to the moon? What's the problem, Buck? What's the big deal? Well, you see, the Apollo astronauts have got some relatively excellent health and some pudding pops and some jello and some deadly radiation. The man now in belt has got some jello and some pudding pops and some kids playing with the popsicle sticks and some deadly radiation. They were flying through space enjoying their pudding pops and a rocket ship and some jello and some deadly radiation. Warning! You's about to learn you some science! So if that kind of stuff bores you, flip over to some porn for the next minute or two. Current satellites that orbit around the Earth in the Van Allen radiation belt receive about 2,500 rem a year in radiation. In order for the astronauts to get enough radiation to feel sick, they would have to sit there in the radiation belt for 15 days. The Apollo missions were launched at an inclination of 30 degrees through the Van Allen radiation belt. This put them on a track where they did not go through the majority of it, but a very slim portion. They received about 1 to 2 rems of radiation, which is about 1 full-body X-ray at the doctor's office. Once outside Van Allen radiation belts, the astronauts were at risk to solar winds and particles. A major solar flare could have sent solar particles and winds to them, causing severe radiation sickness or even death. The astronauts were well aware of the risks and decided to go anyway, knowing that they were taking a risk. Fortunately for the astronauts, on all Apollo missions to the moon, there was no major solar activity that occurred. I'm no longer going to play Answer the Stupid Questions. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Well, here it is. Apollo 11, 14, and 15 left retroreflectors on the moon. Not only has American scientists bounced lasers off of them for 40 years, Russian scientists have as well. But it gets even better. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has taken photos of the landing sites. It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You lose. You get nothing. But despite the empirical evidence that I have shown, that is not the coup de grace. No, the knockout punch to your lunar lunacy is the fact that we were involved in a space race at the time. We had a competitor that was watching our every move. They had spies here, as we did over there. We were watching each other's move. They were tracking us and had the ability to track whether or not we actually went to the moon. If the lunar landing was faked, they didn't have to convince you or the American populace. They had to convince Russians and Russian scientists. And now, to further demonstrate this point, I shall be using finger puppets, the highest visual aid known to man.
But I tell you what, NASCAR was pretty good today. It was. They made a lot of left-handed turns. Oh, it was good. Anyway, after we were done doing that, we decided to launch a rocket. That rocket went to the moon. And then we walked around on the moon, got a couple of moon rocks, and we come back home. Take that, Ruskies.
Yeah, I'm Russian scientist. We track your rocket. It no make moon. You lie. Capitalist pigs lie. Russians go to moon now for real. We show real Russian supremacy. We win space race. Fuck.
But I tell you what, I heard me today we landed on the moon. Now, I didn't see it for myself. I was too busy watching NASCAR. But we landed on the moon, got a couple moon rocks, come back home. That's what I hear. What do you think about that, snooty falooty Rusky?